Okay. We'll call this special meeting of the Oregon State Arts Commission into order. Anne, will you please do a roll call?
I am happy to do that. Good evening, everybody. Amanda Dexter, I'm going to write down. Daria Loy.
Here.
Thank you. Josh Planton.
Here.
Choir Hugon.
Here.
Rebecca Sierra.
Here.
Joyce Lemaster.
Here.
Amy Wilson.
Here.
Okay, and we are seeing also, have not heard, not been in touch with Emma today, so I'll mark her down as well. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Next up is adoption of the agenda. Were there any other items on that anyone wanted to add to the agenda, or any addition or edits to the agenda that anyone wanted to make? Okay, if not, the one item I did want to add is I'll do a brief update on the 6x6 mural fundraising event. We can add that at the very end of the, I can even include it in the communications if need be, but I will give a brief update on that.
It's on here.
Don't mind if, we don't have to record it.
That's on the minutes.
Oh, sorry, I'm bad.
Okay, with that, any objections to approving the agenda?
No.
Okay, we'll move on then to approval of the minutes. We'll give everyone a few moments to review the minutes from May 15th. Please let us know if there's any edits or comments you have. There's no comments. If anyone would like to make a motion to approve, please do so.
I make a motion?
Give a motion, is there a second?
Her.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no or nay. Okay, we will consider the minutes approved. Public comment, any comments?
Did not receive any public comment.
Okay, great. And then we'll move into item 5, discussion items, propose public art murals. So I want to say a few words before we get into the actual presentations. So as I believe everyone saw, was included in the email that Anne sent out, there was a directive from legal counsel clarifying our role in this process. So the art mural applications are a process that we oversee as the Arts Commission. Due to that, delegating the grant funds for the program is something we shouldn't do for any murals in which we are before us to approve. That being the case, in this regard, what we'll be doing is reviewing the mural applications and approving those. The grants themselves will ultimately be approved by city staff, the Economic Development Department. So once we approve the applications, then it goes to the next step of the city staff approving the actual grants. The Salmon bench is the one grant we can approve. We do have the authority to approve, so we will be reviewing that in terms of the grant authorization. So I just wanted to kind of level set that, see if there's any questions on that before we begin the presentations. Choir.
So if economic development are the people approving the grants, where's the grant funding coming from?
It's still coming from our budget, but it is written out in the program that the staff will oversee the management of the grant funds,
Okay.
so, which is normal. All of our funding, whether it's per budget or per grant program, ultimately has to get sign off from city staff or city manager to go out. So
Sounds good.
it's not unprecedented.
And in general, the Arts Commission funds sit in the ECDEV category. That's why you get to hang out with James and me.
Yeah.
Word.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, with that, we'll invite up our first presenter. Please Cathy Rowe, please come up, introduce yourself, say where you're from for the record, and, yep, I think that one is the right one.
I am Cathy Rowe, and
You might have to push the button. Can people online hear Cathy? Yeah, okay.
Well,
Never
push the
mind,
button
you're good.
anyway, it's probably good for the video.
It should be red.
it looks like it's glowing red. So.
There you
go.
All right. So I'm Cathy Rowe, and I am the muralist who's applying to restore the DC Latourette Park mural. And did you have a picture for me?
I'm gonna show.
I think we all have this as well, just let you
Yeah, we have this in the room, those online, and we'll show a image for everyone.
Why don't you guys keep going and I'll get it online so that the people on Zoom can see.
Okay, so this mural, I believe, was a community-created mural at the park that was the previous city pool. And so it has a city pool themed mural, and it's a little bit piecemeal, and it is ready for a little extra love. So you will see my proposal there for just giving it a more consistent look and just a little lift, and then preservation coatings and whatnot.
While Anne brings up images, are there any immediate questions from anyone on the Zoom call or anyone in the room?
I apologize, I'm having difficulty. For some reason, my computer is not opening up my OneDrive folder. Why?
Well, I just wanted to, maybe it's time for comments, I don't know. I love the little creatures that you have in the background of the water. They're adorable.
Well, those are just, for the most part, those were the creatures that were there originally.
Oh.
So that's not an addition, that is just, they were a little bit faded.
Got it.
So I wanted to bring them out and make them look more like
Yeah.
imagined real beings and not just like an accidental happenstance that has faded
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, and not only the fading is, I think the mural, they're just line drawings, and I see how you've put in nice shading and given them a little more
Yeah.
substantial. I like that. Is there any, I'm a person who goes to this park weekly, if not daily sometimes. I live right around the corner. And I'm also an artist. Colors are important to me. I'm glad that the blue is nice and vibrant. I feel like it's similar to the blue that's on there now. It was like a gray purple. So,
Yeah, part of it was really close to the blue, that bright blue.
yeah.
And then it's like, there's kind of 3 different colors of water.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call it water because
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it is. Is there any, I'm just thinking, I like how you put the faces more, I'm just looking at the comparison, like, I mean, you're just freshening it up. You're keeping it the same, but you're just making the faces more visible.
I think the biggest change is there's like the very last swimmer towards the staircase. He currently has his face right on an area that it needs repair. So hopefully at some point in the future, a repair can happen. And if he is just like in a slightly different spot, then the repair can happen with very minimal additional mural repairs.
Yeah,
So he is shifted ever so slightly, so he is not on that cracked area.
yeah.
So the Parks Department is not making repairs to the wall, you're just painting over?
Yeah, at this time, the Parks Department does not have time to get the proper,
Repairs done before, okay.
repairs done.
Well, I guess, is that what mainly drove the restoration work needed, or was there other factors that caused for the mural to have to be refinished?
It's mostly just the wear of time.
Wear of time,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't believe, there was nobody I talked to that could remember when this was actually painted, which makes me feel
Okay.
like it was probably 20 years ago that it was
Okay.
painted
At
in
least,
sort of a
yeah.
piecemeal fashion.
So no additional materials are needed besides the typical mural, paint and then protective coating to help avoid graffiti and wear, okay.
Yeah, because of the surface, I will be taking some surface preparation into account because it is a retaining wall and there's earth behind it.
Okay,
So there's some porosity issues that I'm going to prepare the surface a little bit
okay,
to make sure it
okay.
doesn't wear poorly.
I have a question.
Yes.
That I'm putting out to the Art Council. So I think, is there any, now, we kind of had this discussion our last meeting with a different project, but is there any wiggle room to zhuzh it up just a little bit more? Like maybe, do a gradation of blue in the water so it doesn't just, so it like gives it more depth. I'm asking about, because I know we're restoring a mural. And also, I mean, I know your art, what you're capable of. And so, and maybe picking, I don't know, maybe a few different colors for the bathing suits or something like that. Like, is there anything like that people would feel comfortable with asking to do, or is this too late in the process?
Josh-
Just to reiterate, so we are approving the mural application itself, which, per First Amendment laws in Oregon, we can't really judge any image based on the image itself. We can only review things based on the materials being used. I get to your point about trying to make some adjustments to it. Ultimately, what it would come down to is if you want to, take some of that feedback and propose that to city staff ultimately will have to look at the guidelines of the program and determine if the changes you're suggesting would suffice within that program. Yeah. So, long way of saying.
Okay, just put it out there again.
Yeah. Send your vibes, and then she can take what she wants and turn it over to staff, and staff can work with her on that point.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
And how you doing?
I don't understand why I can't access this, but I'm trying to pull it
Get
off,
your VP.
pull it off the
Yeah.
thumb drive.
And would it be possible for you to email us maybe the images and the documents that you cannot display so that we can follow?
Well, she can't access the files is what it sounds
No,
like.
I just copied it. If I can't pull it up on this thumb drive, then I will do that, Daria. And then the other thing I want to do is just go over what the next steps are going to be in terms of working with the Parks and Rec and making this a reality.
Okay.
There we go, and then we go to.
Any other questions for Cathy?
I can see this if I want to. Do you guys want to?
It's on their desktops then.
All right, so what, okay.
I'm getting something.
This is what you're,
Shared
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Oh, you don't have a screen
Oh, I
over
don't
there?
care. I have a vivid imagination. And
You can scoot over. This is an empty computer.
Look at you
Yeah,
guys
we're not
outside.
even using half the.
Yeah, there's lots of monitors.
Why isn't it up on the big screen?
this is just your application though, this isn't the image. So what you're seeing now is the qualified vendor application that Cathy submitted to the city when we started looking at this potential project. Can you all see that now?
Yeah.
And
Do you mind scrolling down, Ann?
I keep going.
Down, yeah.
More information about Cathy's background, project examples.
And then as we discussed beforehand, so we don't have yet the easement from the city. So the city would have to sign an easement, or the Parks Department would have to sign an easement for that portion over to qualify under the current program guidelines. So any vote we do on this mural would be subject to that easement form being finally signed by the city. Or legal counsel saying that an easement form is not necessary.
Do you, Daria, or Rebecca have a question about the application that you're looking at that was submitted? This really speaks to Cathy's background more than to the mural itself. But if you have any other questions, or I can try to upload another image.
I mean, it would be nice to see the actual proposal for the mural. This document, I think we've already seen, but
Okay.
not the actual proposal.
So, we're just taking a vote on approving this tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was gonna wait till I have both presentations, then we can do a vote unless anyone feels strong we should do votes as we go. Okay? Then with that, Cathy, I will say thank you for your time. We'll swing over to David, and then if you can get the image up, we can review it at the end.
Well, before we let Cathy go enjoy the rest of her evening. Apologies for not being able to pull up that image for the folks that are participating via Zoom. So again, this mural is being restored through a collaboration with the Parks and Recreation Department. Cathy is the applicant to the Arts Commission for the dollars that's coming through the Public Art Renovation Program, but we will need some documentation from the Arts and Rec, like the easement agreement. So I will get that information from Parks and Rec. We have also talked with them about hosting a kind of public event where we can have like a little unveiling or have something going in the park where we can invite people in the community to say, hey, look, this is something that the Arts Commission has helped sponsor. And that will be taking place, I think, in July. So it will not be happening before the end of June. There's a little bit of funding that the Parks Department will contribute to that event.
Are they expecting any funding from us for that
No.
event? No, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But the project will be, the mural will be done by the end of June, but then the event wouldn't take place until July.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And I don't know if you had the opportunity to ask Cathy about dates and how she's planning to work with while I was trying to get things to work on my computer side. Did you guys already have that discussion?
About the event?
Yeah, about which dates in June and that kind of thing.
For the mural, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depended upon the easements being signed, but
Right.
what's the time frame you're currently looking at?
I would like to get started as quickly as possible so that I can get the majority of the mural done in June.
Okay.
For the deadline, yeah.
So we just have in front of us a picture and a sentence. Are we requiring anything else? Like, we have a request for qualifications application, but do we have a full-on step-by-step proposal in budget? Like, am I just missing something?
It was something that was,
Was it emailed to us and I didn't see it? 'Cause that would be
No,
like-
so that's part of what Anne's gonna have to work with after them on. We don't have all the paperwork in yet for the project. We need some of that from the Parks Department. So any vote we take tonight will basically be on contingent of those paperwork being filed, approval of the mural application. If we want to take that vote.
But if we're approving a mural application,
What you
Is it
had,
because we're doing this in conjunction with the Parks Department, that we're doing this differently than any other call for
No.
art or application that we've
Yeah.
ever done? I'm just
I
confused.
thought I was gonna have something to show you and I.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So I apologize that I
It's
don't
okay,
have something that was supposed to be here and it's not here.
Oh, okay, so there is a concrete, like.
Right, so
They
what
want
we
to follow
have
the
is
same process as
we have
everyone
I
else.
do have a detailed, budget.
Okay.
That shows, here's the things that's going on. What you're being asked to approve as the Arts Commission is the restoration of the mural.
Okay.
And,
No, we're being asked to approve the mural application. You will be responsible for approving the
right.
grant for the restoration and the funding.
But how can we approve an application that we haven't seen? That's what I'm saying. We should be seeing.
Well, so the application that she showed on the screen was the application for the mural.
That was a qualified vendor applicant, like request for
Was that- oh,
qualifications
was
for
that the
qualified
wrong one?
vendor.
that was a qualified vendor
Okay,
application.
so do you have the application
That's,
for the program?
I can't, I'll have
That's
to,
what-
I'll have to send
yeah.
it to you. I'm unable to pull it up on my screen.
so we have to just decide tonight if we want to use our time to just be like, we don't see this. Maybe we
What I
could
can
just
tell
ask
you is
qualifying questions to Cathy while she's here, or,
The amount of funds that was requested is $12,000 from the, there were additional dollars for, community engagement activities, that we will not be able to fund through the, public renovation dollars,
so the total budget to restore this is $12,000?
correct?
Okay.
And do we have a breakdown of why it's $12,000 that you
Yes,
can
we
read?
do, and I can't
you
show
can't- no, I know,
it.
but-
I do, yes, I
Cathy,
have that
do you have-
breakdown. It's not
can you
something I'm
speak to
able to
that?
show on the screen right now.
I understand that you're saying like there's other people who have to also approve that money, but I feel like we're being asked to be like, yeah, we're okay with this, move it forward.
No.
Without knowing really what we're doing.
What I'm just trying to clarify is that the budget, all of that is not part of can't be part of our decision-making process for the application, the mural application. If a building came to us and said, we want to put a mural up, here's, they might share with us their budget, but we wouldn't have any say in that, right?
I understand we wouldn't have any say in that, but I feel like,
It does appear we are missing the paperwork we need to actually approve
And
this
I don't know,
mural application.
normally I pull up things on Zoom all the time, it's just not working.
it's okay, yeah, it's totally okay, and like, I'm just saying, what are we trying to get done tonight, and can we actually do that tonight, is my question. And if not, we have the person who wrote the proposal here, can we just ask qualifying questions so we can move this along?
I think we should.
Yes, that is my point. Daria, do you have anything to say to that, or, because I know that's what you were asking for earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if there is a document
Yeah.
that cannot be shared on the screen for technical difficulties. Can it be emailed, for instance? That would be helpful to start with. And if there isn't a document, then maybe we need Cathy to, since she's there, as you just said, to take us through it step by step, even if it would be much helpful to have in front of us.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be on the big screen and shared.
right,
Just
yeah.
emailed.
Just so that we feel like we're making an educated decision. to
Right,
move
of course,
forward.
no, of course, I mean, that's why you guys are, your expertise is what brings you here to the Arts Commission. So
Yeah,
I have to,
Yeah, so I'm on the website, I'm looking at the art mural program. It says, somebody completed a mural application, just to confirm, and you've received a mural application, not the easement form, but the mural application itself from the Parks Department?
I've got that information.
Okay, so under that, it lists a few things that are indicated. So, a scaled color image, which we have, and is not able to share it online.
Yeah, the other thing I'm trying to pull up and I'm having difficulty with is the budget. That was done.
which, I'm gonna speak to the budget, Josh. I think that is something, even though we're not approving the final budget, in order for us to make an educated approval of this, I think we should know what the budget is and say, yes, we think this is a reasonable budget for what is happening, based on our expertise, based on what we know it takes to make art.
No, I understand that. I'm looking at the list of things that are required under the program itself, and budget is not one of those. Actually, it's after the public hearing, then there's a line, secure funding. So it's in order of things, funding comes after our public hearing in the program guidelines. So I'm fine with hearing what the budget is and what the breakdown is, but I'm just saying that can't play a piece in the approval considerations.
Okay. Is, just a side note, and not that's something we have to do today, is that a thing that we could ask the city to change? Because I think that if they're going to ask for our expertise, we should be seeing that budget. I would not put my approval on something that I didn't know what was in the budget. And we just had a huge discussion about budget on our last discussion about a project. And so I would not feel in a professional capacity okay with being like, yeah, we have no idea.
No, and of course,
You know.
we wouldn't, I mean.
So I'm just saying,
We wouldn't ask you to do that either, like.
well,
that's
here, it's not required of the person, like, asking for a mural in the area where we're approving. We're not required to see it in what Josh is reading off of the city website. When somebody comes to us with a request to do a mural, is what I'm saying. So I think that should be noted, that maybe our next meeting, that we need to come to the city and say that needs to be changed, or
So
you're not using us to our full capacity.
I have a current action, and I know Daria's been working on the Oregon City Arts Commission charter side of the municipal code to
Yeah.
make suggested updates. I have an action which I was postponing until after June 30th to really get started on, to review the same thing for the municipal code on mural improvement. So it is in the works, but, and we can suggest that to the city, but right now we have to go by what's established in the municipal code
I
and
understand.
the guidelines.
I understand.
Still happy if you want to give a breakdown of kind of the cost.
Welcome, Kathy.
Yes.
Hi, Cathy.
Where we're at.
Well, there is some sort of, like, this is sort of a city project, right? And you are a city entity.
Correct.
So it makes sense in this case to know the budget for this project.
Yeah.
But for like all murals, I don't necessarily think that's something you need to have in the mural approval code. Like, if a business owner came to you guys and said, I want to put a mural on this building, would you expect them to have, you would expect them to have maybe the artist and a design, but you may not necessarily.
I would say I would still want to see the budget. We're not approving the budget, but I would want to know that to safeguard
That does make
the
sense.
business owner from somebody taking advantage of them. I think that someone who actually creates art or somebody who understands how art is made should be looking at the budget and saying, oh yeah, that's reasonable, or I wouldn't approve that. So that's my point in there.
That's a fair point.
Which is more than reasonable. Which is more than reasonable.
I would just want to make sure that this isn't seen as like a barrier to more art being added to the city. Like, oh, here's another thing we're adding to the approval process, when a lot of people are not really that interested in going through the approval process as it is.
That's a good point. Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
So hey folks, I don't know how Rebecca feels about it, but at my end, I don't feel I have, I'm in a position to say much about the proposal, because I haven't received anything. I haven't seen the proposal, I haven't seen the picture, I haven't seen anything. So it's very hard to know how to proceed and how to provide feedback, input, ask questions, agree with going forward, approving, giving a vote, anything really. I don't know how Rebecca feels, but
So I think
don't have any equipment. And I really don't understand why we cannot receive an email with attachments, with information. I'm not saying to project it on the screen, but can we receive an email, please, with attachments? Is that possible to have that?
Yes, Daria, it is possible. I'm trying still through the thumb drive. I downloaded the budget that Cathy sent me. I can't access it through OneDrive, but I'm accessing it through Outlook, and I just downloaded it to a thumb drive, and now I'm trying to upload it to Zoom.
So, while Anne's working on that, I'm in agreement with Daria. I feel like I'm kind of flying blind right now. I don't feel like I have enough information to confidently say, yeah, absolutely. The yes in me is yes, I want to see our murals fixed and live longer and create more beauty in our city. So that's an absolute hard yes for me. But as far as the project, because I haven't seen anything, I'm just holding back a little bit. I have a copy of the mural design that we received at our last meeting. 'Cause I know I'd seen it before that.
Yeah, we're not worried about
Oh, I thought Daria was saying she hadn't even seen the pictures.
Oh,
Daria, do you have the materials from the last meeting?
I didn't realize that
There we
was
go,
the
all right.
image.
It's the one with the swimmers on it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, then I have that.
okay.
I thought it was something else then, because we couldn't see what we had.
Right.
All right, so there's two things. So now, after much consternation.
Good job,
got
Anne.
that, woo! We have uploaded the proposed budget that was shown to the Parks Department. Okay.
No, maybe not.
And that's what they're looking at.
Yep.
Whose budget is this? Is this Cathy's?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
So what I have agreed was, this was what Cathy shared with us and what I shared with the Parks Department. This gives you an idea of where the requested funds are coming from. What we have to work with is $12,000, which will go towards that mural restoration line item. Towards that, the community involvement aspect, we'll have to work with the Parks Department to fund.
So the entire 4 items under community involvement aspect parks is gonna come up with?
Well, no, I think it's, what I want to focus on now, I'm not able to speak to how we're going to fund the community, we'll have some kind of event in July. What I want for you to consider is the planning and prep, the mural restoration, the anti-graffiti, that's what we're going to be working on.
can you define what the planning and prep is at $60 per hour?
So I will photograph the mural in great detail as it is, so that I can accurately restore it. If in the cleaning and preparation phase, something happens with, big piece of paint flakes off or something, I always want to make sure it's very well documented, and then then I also go about and clean it. It has already been power washed, so that's fabulous. It doesn't have any moss on it, which is great. I'm just going to make sure there's no little loose bits. And then I will also go and find the best colors for the space. So I have to go to Home Depot, which is where I get the base of my paint. And I'll get all the paint chips required, and I'll see in the space how all the colors that I am thinking will look great actually look on the space before I purchase the paint and buy it. So that should take about 4 hours to do all of that.
Cool.
And then, so once you get painting, how long do you think it should take? And during that time, how are you planning to kind of protect the area while you're painting it?
So I usually just tape it off with like
Okay.
caution tape. And I believe there are some rails in an area, and I have cones and things like that. So that's
Okay.
usually what I use to protect it just while I'm painting on it. And it's just usually the area that I'm working on. And this is like 100 feet long. So,
It is very long.
so I'm not gonna obstruct the whole mural. I'm just gonna obstruct the area that I'm
Yeah.
working on at the time. Anything that's wet. Yeah.
I have a question about that, because, just because I know how that area gets used very well. Kids climb along the top, and so we probably rope the all access to the top off. And then, I feel like, I mean, there's lots of possibilities that a ball could bounce, or like kids that don't listen. And so there is a contingency of like understanding that like
It is an
wet paint
active,
will be probably touched at some point.
yeah, it's an active play area, so, yeah.
I have a question. Mural restoration includes surface preparation where needed, not repair work, prime, color, matching, and painting. But then you have a community painting session. So how much of the actual painting of the mural are you intending to do at that $20 per square foot? Is that just priming the surface and you were intending to have the community come do that and you facilitate the actual painting of the mural? Or can you walk me through that?
Okay, so it is my intention to do the majority of the painting, and then during the community day or days, that would be just inviting a few people to come and participate in the ways that they felt comfortable, whether that was like stamps or brushes or rollers or what have you.
Okay.
So it's not a big interaction, but it would be big to those individuals.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think that's nice because like that gives people ownership of what's in their park, and I like that aspect of it. So I
And
hope
it's
we
too
are
bad
able
that
to fund
Amanda's
that
not
or
here,
figure
because
that out.
we didn't have, in the Parks Department, doesn't have a record of who the original artist was, but it's someone who Amanda knows, who used to live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Amanda's actually, this mural has a history of community events taking place. When it was originally created and other times when things have been restored, and Amanda's even participated in some of those. So
Nice.
I think that's what gave rise to this idea of having an activity where there were folks in the neighborhood participating.
Yeah.
I do really appreciate Cathy being open to that, and also just being open to fluctuating resource availability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Does anyone else have any questions on this? Like Daria or Rebecca? Okay. Can I just say thank you for taking the time to come here and put together a very thorough budget and presentation, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions about the presentation that is not in the? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I just want to let folks know the next steps, so we will be working, I'll make sure you see the application from the Parks Department, which and I will also have them fill out and complete the easement agreement that they need, although it's the city giving the city an easement. That's how that will be. Everybody who participates in this public mural program provides a 5-year easement agreement with the city, so you'll be getting that copy too.
Yeah, either the easement agreement or something from legal counsel saying that the easement agreement is not necessary on the public property. One of the two is sufficient. And then the application, the $125 application fee, and the certificate of general liability insurance for the $1 million coverage, which I would assume that the city would have
The
on
city
property.
insuring the city, so.
Well, it's part of the application process, so I'm just noting it here that we'll need confirmation of that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank
Kathy.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in person.
Yeah, and thanks to people in,
Thank you.
so, and I apologize again, I'm not sure what's going on with the OneDrive here that I can't do this, but, okay, thanks.
Oh, Kathy, sorry, I talked over you too earlier. That was kind of aggro.
You're fine, Lassie.
That was as smooth as a bumpy road.
Is the bumpy wall to paint pictures on? Huh?
Okay.
So let's then move on to David. I know he's been waiting patiently online. Appreciate him joining remotely. And by chance, do you have their mural application form that you could pull up? Is that,
Yeah.
so we have a printed copy here in person. Is there a chance you can share it with those who are
Let me download it onto that.
And Daria and Rebecca, this image was also part of the packet at our last meeting. It's the mining company mural restoration, so just to give you reference.
Yeah, I remember, yeah,
Okay, cool. I think that would have helped last time.
thank you.
No problem.
Well, while I'm pulling that up, I'd like to introduce Mr. Blindheim, who's the owner of the building as part of the Oregon City Limited Building Partnership, and it's the building where Renee's is located at the corner of 10th and Main. People may remember this mural previously, and just very thrilled that it may be returning to, or is planning to return, and David is working with the original artist. So I'll turn it over to you, David.
Yeah, you got it, Anne. Thank you, guys. Introducing myself, I'm David Blindheim, one of the owners of the building there, the Fairclough building. That's been a family investment of ours for a long time. So I've been back when it was the Friendship Restaurant, way back, if you guys remember that, when it was a Chinese food place, and now Renee's for a long time. We worked maybe with a similar commission back in 2013 to develop the storefront as part of a storefront improvement project to restore the clear story windows that were a historic addition there, and to paint the building in a more modern style that fit in with the aesthetic downtown. And part of that work at that time was to put in the Ogle Mountain mining mural, which I think was back in 2013 or 2014. In 2023, we had some stucco issues on the south side of the building where the mural was that required us to repaint the building. And in the process of doing that, had to paint over the original mural, which at that point was 9 or 10 years old, and weren't in a position at that time to restore the mural. Happily now, in collaboration with Anne and the Arts Commission, and well, even independent from that, I had reached out to the artist to see about the possibility of restoring that mural that we liked as part of an asset of our building. And I understand, and I'm glad to hear that the community and the Arts Commission is familiar with and has enjoyed in the past. And yeah, Anne, you said it all. Same mural, same artist, same application technique, and we will be, per the terms of the grant, applying the UV or the anti-graffiti coating on top of it as well. The contractor's lined up and scheduled and ready to go. So we're overjoyed to be able to participate together with the city in this through the grant process, and looking forward to restoring it.
All right.
I have a question. Is there a connection between the mural and your building?
There is, in fact. So the photograph is of my, let's see, let me dial it back here. I'm going to say great-grandfather, Al Fairclough, for whom the building is named, who ran a mine in the foothills off of Mount Jefferson, near Detroit, called Ogle, the Ogle Mountain Mine. And so that is the connection to the mural. And the photograph is of him himself, although we think the photograph may be up in Alaska.
That's fine.
It's cool, thanks.
I'm happy to share, I don't know if I can share through this process the
Sure,
artwork, or
if
if
you-
everybody here has the materials that they can
Yeah.
review.
If you should have the ability to share anything you want to.
We have an image.
Well, Daria and I guess Rebecca could have it on their emails, but if you would like to share it, David, feel free to. Is there anything you'd like to point out about the image?
Let's see. So I'll share this. Oh shoot, this is probably getting more complicated then.
Technology is not our friend today.
Is anybody seeing anything?
It says you started to share your screen, but then
Oh,
AI had another idea.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, there was an allow button that I missed. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna share this thing and then. Okay, who sees that?
Nope.
Yes, there we go.
There we go.
All right.
Good on you.
All right, so here's the building, and then that's the facade where the mural will go, and then this is the mural here. So we'll be adding this background in that color, and then the graphic itself. The artist is Justin Reed, and this is his website with some of his previous work. And like I said, oh, yeah, ours is up there. How about that?
Yay.
And he's, like I said, ready to go.
Cool.
And then we've got where did it go? I had the UV coating up there somewhere too. Yeah, here's the UV coating. So the total cost to us for the project is the $10,000 for Justin, plus the 1,000 or so for the graffiti coating, and which I hadn't added into the application material, but I think our grant application request is for 6,000. That's 60% per the program requirements. That's my understanding.
Sounds very
And then, Anne, from your side, so I saw the application that was on David's screen. I think you said you were working with them on getting the easement completed. The certificate of general liability insurance coverage, and then the fee. Where do we stand on all those items?
Right, so just this, earlier today, also working with Public Works so that we can have a sidewalk closure put in place, so that when, the artist has a lift that'll be down on the sidewalk, they'll have to close the sidewalk, so, Justin is working with our Public Works folks. So the process for it to happen is the easement agreement gets put into place, then the grant agreement signature gets put into place, and then the artist goes, and then the artist goes to work.
Okay, but in terms of what we need for the application process, so the easement needs to be signed. We receive the application fee for the mural, or is that gonna be included in the budget?
Yeah, no, I will have to speak with David about the application fee.
And then the certificate of general liability for the $1 million coverage?
Same, yeah, we are working together on all of those documents.
Okay.
And I've reviewed those requirements and the boilerplate language of the easement, and that'll be no problem for us to get done.
Okay.
Can I ask a random question?
Please.
Do you know the square footage on this?
Yeah, I think it was 200.
200 square? That's all. I was just curious. It's big.
Yeah, it's a big section of wall.
And the reason we're kind of rushing to get everything done tonight is because we are, as you know, we have to get everything approved, and Justin needs time to get started, and so yes, if things feel a little rushed and hectic this evening, that's because they are. But we also are just trying to be responsive to our June 30 deadline, and the artist needs time to work, and so again, I apologize if things are a little bumpy tonight.
The square footage of the mural itself is 169.
169, okay. I would like to just say thank you for being a building owner who is interested in keeping that art in our
Sure.
city. So thanks for doing that, dude.
Yes.
Happy to be here, thank you.
Any other questions for David? Okay. David?
Oh, David, I'm really grateful for the story that you shared with us about your great grandfather. I love that. That makes it so much more special to me now that I know that. So thank you so much.
Thank you too, yeah, it's special to us too.
Yeah.
Okay. David, you're welcome to stay on, of course. We'll move into discussion on approval of the murals. We can take them one at a time.
Thanks for your time, everybody, I'm gonna bow out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
David, we appreciate it, and I'll be following up with you directly probably tomorrow and Monday.
Sounds good, thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
Bye.
So we'll start with the Latourette Park mural application. As we've heard, we're still waiting on paperwork for both murals per the process guidelines. I want to open the floor, let anyone say any comments they'd like before we see if anyone would like to make a motion to approve contingent upon the completion of the paperwork.
Yeah. Something about the Latourette Park history that people may or may not know, it's kind of cool. It used to be a swimming pool, but also it became a swimming pool because one of the sons of the Latourette family actually passed by drowning, by swimming in the river, so they made it a pool. So that's part of the history of it being a pool. And then it's just kind of cool to have a mural that kind of, in a really positive, childish way, in happy way, joyful way, kind of reminds us of how the space was used throughout history. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you for sharing that, and, we'll put something on the side that says, broad in partnership between the Parks Department and the Arts Commission. Maybe we want to include a little history too. That's
that'd be
kind
tight.
of cool.
These histories will be good to put on the website along with the art when we show the experience art in the city. I just think that, like what Daria said, it just anchors it more into kind of the meaning of these pieces in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments, questions, thoughts, epiphanies? Okay. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion to approve the mural application for the Latourette Park pending the final fee, certificate of liability, and easement forms being completed and submitted?
You're dying, you're holding back.
I know, but I don't want to be the person that does it because my kid plays there all the time. I feel like there's a conflict of interest. I would like to make a motion.
Okay, Cora makes a motion. Anyone like to second?
I second.
Yay.
Joyce will second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Okay, mural application for Latourette Park is approved. Moving on then to the mural for 109 10th Street. Again, open the floor. Any comments, questions? Okay. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion to approve the application pending the final easement form, certificate of general liability, application fee?
I would like to make that motion.
Raise some motions. Okay, Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Say nay. I forgot that part. Okay. The mural application for 109 10th Street is approved pending those final pieces of the application. Next item on the agenda then is the Salmon Bench revised proposal. So I believe, Ann, you sent that out to everyone. People in the room have a copy of it. Ann, would you be able to bring up a copy of it for those on the call?
If I do the thumb drive thing, yes.
Okay. Well, Ann pulls that up. Are there any initial comments, things that people wanted to bring up?
I would like to say that I'm looking through the visual aids, and I think we did ask for something more substantial as of a visual aid to understand the stainless steel frame with the fiberglass, and I don't think we received that. So I understand the drawing, and that's lovely. And I think I have a good concept of it based off of those things, but I'm just bringing that up in case somebody's concerned about that. Maybe I should have done that.
And,
But,
excuse me one sec, acquire. So, Daria and Rebecca, what I'm looking to show is really just what I emailed you the other day. So that's the documentation, the Becky's documentation. So you got that? Or do you want me to? Okay,
I'm looking at the document that you
okay.
sent.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So here,
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Are you referring to that part of the conversation in the last meeting at that other building? Where it was like, we need a 3D drawing, like almost like a AutoCAD drawing? And is that
Yeah.
what you were expecting?
well, not necessarily auto, but just, I feel like this is the thing that we saw from the slide, right? And we did say that we were gonna ask them for a drawing that we could a better drawing so that we could wrap our heads around what this is gonna look like. So, and it doesn't seem like we got much of an update. I don't know if that's
Is there
what
additional
this,
info?
this is, if this is additional, I'm holding this up to the screen like you can see me, and it's not a FaceTime.
It is the hand drawing.
The hand drawing's new, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
the hand drawing, I don't remember seeing that at the last meeting.
Okay,
No, I only sent it, I sent it out Thursday, earlier this week.
yeah, I wouldn't expect AutoCAD drawing, because that's actually like a skill, like that I wouldn't.
I know.
That's not like,
I was gonna say, I'm like,
it's a skill.
if every artist can do that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't
I
expect
think
that.
I wanted to make a comment though about the steel frame around it, which I think is a really great idea for
Yeah.
protecting the edge, but it's
I
also
agree.
a great way to skate across it. And so I would like to know how we're going to prevent further damage from that being a skating rail.
Okay, so my husband is a skater. And he's just turned 48 and he still skates. So if you would like me to bring that up to him, basically you put little bumps on it and then the skater's like, I can't do it. So, I mean, which,
Yeah, I've seen little, almost like rivets that are put on it, so it's more like instead of this nice clean
Yeah.
ride.
well,
across
and it wouldn't be, it would be like, oh God, I'm wrecking.
Art is to discourage the skating on
Yeah.
a piece of art.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
would you recommend?
Bumpies.
No, you do, Rebecca.
What?
Would you recommend, Rebecca?
Oh, the bumps.
Okay, all right.
I've seen where they put bumps on it, and
Yeah.
I've also seen where it's almost like how do you put it? Like a right angle that's
Yeah.
bolted.
Yeah, like a,
And then that also will prevent it. The bumps could be really cool because she's already sort of got bumps in the surface with the new glass beads and also
Yeah.
the repairs on the side. And so that circular kind of motif could be cool, but I don't know what it takes to put that on there.
So
And
I
that
was
would
about
be
to
something
say,
that
we
we
can
need to
ask
ask her.
Her to do that, or do we take that on, or the city take that on after?
yeah, I think, yeah, that's what I was, I feel like, I wonder if City Works already has things like that from installing them in other places in the city,
I
like
think
the
they have to buy it.
library. Or if they have the budget for that.
Well, I think the other thing is will we damage it?
Oh,
I mean, I don't think we
Drills
would,
in
but
afterwards.
yes.
that's a good point.
Well, why don't we start by following up with Becky and Shane?
Okay.
And seeing if that's something they can add to this, and because it would be cool if they could incorporate it into their overall design. So
Yeah.
let's have that be step one.
Okay. Okey doke.
Okay. Any other comments on the application or the updates that they've made?
Who went, and Amy, you went and met with them about the budget? Do you feel better, with the revised budget that came back?
I did not. And I was with Ann when we placed a call. And that wasn't all that conclusive. I will tell you that, I think it was you that was saying that that's how artists work. And so I called my artists and how do you work? And they're like that.
Like that.
So it makes it tough. And don't listen to this. It made it a little tough. One in particular said, if it's 12,000, I will take 12,000. If it's 120,000, I will take 120,000. And I'm like, oh, Chihuahua.
But can I, as an artist,
You bet.
artists they do that because 99 times out of 100, they're still underselling themselves and they're not getting paid what they're worth for what they're doing. And I guarantee it. I know that from knowing artists. I know that from being an artist.
I hear you.
That's why they work that way.
Okay, this is what I
And
suspect.
it's not shady, I promise.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, in any profession,
It's not like you're a run-of-the-mill contractor that like adds on, 30% so they can put in a deck at their own house.
Right.
Like,
No.
the arts are so underfunded and the artists, like I was trying to say, a lot of times they'll agree to a budget just because they want to get a job on their resume. But then they end up eating $2,000 or $3,000 themselves. So I was just trying to find out, let's make sure that this is an accurate budget, which is what you were saying also at the last meeting.
Yes.
And I just wanted, since there was a subcommittee made, I just wanted to follow up and find out, were you comfortable with that conversation and the outcome of it?
It really didn't.
It sounds like you guys had a phone call instead.
And it really didn't address
Anywhere?
the money. And no, it's not going anywhere. It went somewhere. It just, so again, finding out that yes, we will take whatever you got. That's what artists do. Great. In that vein, and I do understand that many times they will take it because they want to do it and they're going to eat this stuff. In this instance, I don't believe it is true. And where I got a little bit out of shape, it's kind of clear on her revised budget. No, you don't spend $600 on firing a kiln unless you're doing it for 2 months straight. So the price got realistic, and what's clear is that they reverse engineer. So here's the money. Now I just have to find out how to fit it. And that's where I got a little crossways because the line items were, no, that's exaggerated. I looked up how much thin set is. So I would almost rather not know that, I'll be honest with you. I would rather just, if we have this again and we say we're willing to spend 12,000, don't send me something where there's $600 for, firing and something that's way overblown, because then that makes my radar go off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How do we come up with that figure?
I see that Daria has her hand up. Before I get to your question, Joyce, go ahead, Daria.
Thank you. I have a comment and a question, actually. Well, the comment is that perhaps next time we do not want to share the amount of money that is available, and we ask for people to put together an actual budget without disclosing what is the maximum that we can afford to spend, and that way we've got something to be more credible. That would be maybe something to consider. The other thing that I'm a bit in the budget, a bit confused about, is the $1,125 for design and concept development, 15 hours. What's that? What are we designing and concept developing here?
Daria, this is not going to get any better. What happened is I called out specific items that needed to be reduced. That money needed to be put somewhere. And that's,
Sorry, but I really, again, but what is the design and concept development? Because there's nothing that is being designed here. Perhaps besides the metal thing around, which however is noted elsewhere. And so I don't know, I'm kind of a bit confused by that specific liner, because it seems a bit I don't know what it is, basically. I don't know what is being designed and what concept is being developed, because this is a restoration project and nothing is being designed or concept.
Well, at the top was actually.
Yeah, she redesigned the
Yeah.
top because at first she thought that she had the ability to do that. And then also to figure out, I'm sure, I feel like to figure out the protective coating and the steel cage probably took time. Like, how are we gonna make sure that this isn't messed up again in the next 10, 20 years? And I think that had to have taken some time to figure that out.
Hours.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it, that took 15 hours, but
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. It seems that there is a little bit of stuff here that personally I still feel is a little bit, trying to fit everything in so that it becomes $12,000 basically. Which
Well,
is,
it's 10 now.
well, 10. Well,
Well, this is at the bottom, total project cost 12,000.
Right, but then we did go back.
On the document that was shared
Right,
online.
so when she did resubmit, she did not change the dollar figure. And then, as Amy said, we met with her, well, it was a phone call, it was not an in-person meeting. She agreed to a $10,000 price tag. We had had a conversation with Myra, who wasn't part of that initial phone call, but then Myra moved in. So that's where we landed with her, was a
So
$10,000.
she's basically shaved the $2,000, and so the budget that I see here is not updated to that conversation you had on the phone. So we don't know where those $2,000 are being shedded, basically, but she's shedding them.
So, and again, so I'm sorry that I have affected you, because that's exactly where I was coming from at the last meeting. And we either are comfortable when somebody says, you got 12,000, we'll take it, and then they have to reverse engineer because they underbid, or the, artists, whatever it is. Or, we can get really picky about this stuff with each person, and it's gonna be really different. I'd almost like to not see it. Like I said, I would just like, you know what? Just you figure out how to do this. It's worth 10,000 to us. The fact that she could shave 2,000 off quickly sort of indicates that you and I are right. But when
or it indicates she wants this job and she's like, fine, I'll just eat $2,000.
Could be.
Yeah, and she might have honestly, and she might have, she might have put that in there because he works in construction. He knows like things are skyrocketing as far as like steel costs and things like that, which maybe they should have put that in the contingency. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, I understand that, hackles are going off. I understand that. I don't think that's wrong, but I don't think that $10,000 versus $12,000 are people trying to swindle the city. I'm just gonna put that out there. But I could be wrong. Because, and also, back to Daria's point, I would not personally feel comfortable with asking someone to fill out an application for a project without them knowing the budget for the projects, because I wouldn't fill that out. I'd be like, well, I couldn't fill that out because I'm like, well, I don't know how long this is gonna take me. Are they gonna pay me? Like, I don't think you would do that either, honestly, like if you think about your artwork and your time and what it's worth.
I actually just applied to funding from a foundation, and they had a very high kind of not $10,000, a very high thing, but they have $50,000 maximum. But I mean, the application that I filled in asked for 20 because the project is worth 20, and I think that if we give I don't agree with the concept that all artists, basically, you give them the top and they're gonna try to work the numbers to do the top. I think some artists do that, but not all of them, and I think maybe if you give a very small budget, maybe, yes, because it's very small for the type of work.
Yeah.
But if you have actually a higher number, people are not gonna try to inflate the numbers just to hit the jackpot, right? Because I think it's kind of not very ethical, to be honest, and then
Correct,
people
yeah.
realize that by looking at your budget. So I mean, I don't know what.
I thought you were talking about going, like, giving them a blind, like, we're not gonna tell them the money, the range of money for this project.
We can perhaps phrase it, in a way that makes it clear that there is a top but that doesn't necessarily needs to be, we can phrase it in ways where maybe incentivizes people to propose budgets that are aligned with what they're proposing and the work that are proposing to undertake versus actually just trying to use all the money, right?
Yeah, word, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did ask the artists about that, because that's what I thought. Well, then what if we just, made them come out? And every one of them said, would not do it. It would be chaotic for them and it wouldn't be worth their time. I'm just saying.
I had a question.
Yeah, because it's a very small number, $10,000 is a very low number for a project like this, right? And so, it's a different story when we're gonna have maybe a bigger budget where we want to have different proposals at different price points. I think this is a kind of unusual situation here that we're dealing with.
Everything about this spring has been very unusual.
Yeah.
And I have a quick question. So,
I'm sorry, Joyce had a question. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with this type of a project, could we have approached, say, someone in the trades? Did it have to be an artist? Someone who does tile?
sure. Well, we've talked to people who do tile, and a lot of them said they wouldn't know how to repair this project. So what Becky's proposing here is a possible solution. It might not work. I mean, because the way that bench was built a certain way in terms of tile, because other people that do tile were saying, that's not what I do, I wouldn't be able to repair that. This was back, a year ago probably when we had these conversations with them. The artists themselves even said that it would be nothing that they could repair like back to exactly the original state because of how it's created. So what she's proposing here, I think, is maybe the best option, with especially the cover over the top to give it at least as long as life as possible. But yeah, it's complicated in terms of the work that needs to be done on it. So anyway, so what I'm hearing is that we probably need to work through our grant program a bit more in terms of how we structure it to avoid this issue in the future. And I guess my question to you is, it looks like 6,000 is being requested for the mural down on 10th Street, 10,000 for this mural, and then is it 12,000 for the Latourette? So that would be the whole budget for the grants. So on this project itself, it comes down to, are we willing to pay the 10,000, even though there might be some concerns or questions about how the dollar figure was calculated? Or do we want to make any further requests? I know that, speaking on terms of budget too, this project's going to take longer than the murals are planned to. We could take 8,000 from the enhancement grant and apply it to this, which doesn't have the same June 30th limitations. 2,000 could be paid earlier to maybe help acquire some of the materials. So I think we'd be set in terms of our obligations under the budget restrictions for the city. Are there any other concerns beyond what's already been stated in terms of the numbers, or additional comments on the numbers that people would like to air out before we talk about maybe how to move this forward?
I just have a comment, and it's kind of in the chat right here. I feel like in order for us to move forward, we need to see the actual budget with the adjusted figures to the 10,000.
Yeah.
It can't be like, well, it shows 12,000, but it's really going to be 10,000. Like, that is not good practice on our part. Like, it needs to match what the money is that we're going to agree to pay out for. And so I think that we need an actual $10,000 budget.
Did she, okay, so the phone call happened and then she gave us this revised budget, or she gave us this revised budget and then the phone call happened?
I have not, you're right, she gave us the 10,000 agreement, it was a verbal agreement. So
Correct.
to Rebecca's point, we don't have it in writing, so I think we should
That's a good point.
We will ask for that.
But, I'm sorry, my question was, did we receive this before that 10,000 was agreed on? Or was it agreed on and then
Yes,
we
we
got,
did.
okay, cool.
Yes, we did.
I just wanted to understand the,
Yeah, but she got it to us very quickly.
yeah.
But
So do we feel the need that we really want to vote on this and make it contingent upon a better fleshed out budget? Or do we need to receive that and then do a vote at our next meeting?
What are people thinking? I mean, I don't.
I mean, we just
Well, I
did,
guess it depends on which pond of money, which pool of money we're gonna use to pay for this. If some of the 8,000 is gonna come later so that they can work on this later and it doesn't have to be done by June 30th, then we could wait until the next meeting. But if it's gotta be done, because we're using all of it out of the June 30th money, we have to decide tonight, I would think.
yeah. Well, and I feel like we just did two projects where we're still waiting on certain paperwork. It's contingent on if we get easements and other paperwork issued. So I feel like the formality of getting the revised budget to make sure that we are, the $10,000 is, she understands that's what she's getting and then we see the proof of that. I would feel comfortable saying yes to this
and
and
I
contingent
mean,
upon the new budget.
yeah, and again, things are moving fast and furious just because of the time constraints that we're under, but no one gets hired by the city without a professional services agreement in place that's been signed and verified, and, you know, we have heard insurance of liability, and I mean, like, all of those formalities do go in place. I mean, that's part of my job.
And has she mentioned anything about working with the Public Works Department for closing the sidewalk for
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I've actually asked Public Works if they'll waive the fee for closing the sidewalk. And so I'm waiting on an answer from
Can
that.
all of that be done by June 30th? All of that won't be in place by June 30th for them to,
For the PSA?
No.
The contracts and everything?
Yeah, I've got drafts waiting on my desk to go forward to our staff. So, I mean, that was the idea, yes, that those PSAs would get signed next week and that she would move forward. In the case of, I think, and because part of the budget does need to be approved, I think I should go back to Becky and Shane, and I should ask them for a third budget. So it's not just in I was going to put it in writing in our professional services agreement. That's where that was going to go into, that's where the written piece was going to come from. But I can request a written budget before that happens. I also want to talk to her about the speed bump idea. I think, see what
I mean, I think for due diligence purposes, it would be good to, have a budget from her that matches with what is in the agreement. So there can't be any talk later on that, hey, no, I gave you a budget for 12,000, you typoed in on the agreement.
Well, like I said, no work would, I mean, she's already started work because she's aware of the June 30, but, everything gets finalized in an approved professional services agreement.
So personally, I feel comfortable voting tonight, provided we do have that amended budgets with all the itemized things contingent to that submission. If we don't get that, I don't feel comfortable personally.
Rebecca?
yeah, I totally agree. My brain is thinking about how are we paying for this? Are we paying all of it out of monies that are due by June 30th, or are we just paying for
So
the supplies?
of the total 28,000, 8,000 of it has a later timeline requirement. It still has to be done, I think, by the end of the year or by the next enhancement committee meeting, but they would have more time.
But
2,000
already the other 20,000? That's, I guess.
The two other murals would need to, I would assume that those would take less time to create, so we would want to spend the more limited time, maybe I'm wrong, but the 20,000 for that, 2,000 of which would be need to be distributed to this project immediately. So it would have to, all the paperwork and stuff would have to be signed, just like the others, pretty quickly, to get moving on things.
Yeah. I would like to say just, all three of these projects are good things. All three of these projects are us doing what we said we would do as a commission, and all three of these projects are very reasonably priced, in my opinion. And I know there's a line item that we don't like, but I think that, you know, zooming out and seeing what we're going to get in the long run. And, I think, I feel comfortable moving forward with all three of these things, and I'm just gonna propose that we, aw. Sorry. Oh, what happened to her?
I didn't see it jump on there.
You're like, what is wrong with you?
She entered the chat.
I just want to make an episode. Anyways, I'd like to propose to move forward with the Salmon bench, contingent upon a revised $10,000 budget. Dun-dun-dun.
So is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, so choir motions to approve contingent upon the final paperwork being processed. Is there a second?
I will always second choir.
Okay,
It's done.
we're putting that on the record. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, it's approved. I will work, Rebecca, I'll copy you on it, and I'll work with Ann, and we'll make sure that all the paperwork does get officially submitted. If there's any concerns, we'll bring up at the next meeting, which I believe right now we're planning for the 23rd, Monday.
Right, so I wanted to see,
23rd.
I know that not everybody can make it, but because because Juneteenth is a holiday, this building will be closed. So we're just looking for some other dates. We threw out the
think I might be
23rd.
camping on
I've gotten a couple of yays from people who can make it on Monday, the 23rd.
I'll be remote, but I can make it.
Okay,
I'll be remote, but I can make it.
okay,
Yeah, I can make it too.
should be fine.
Remote
Wonderful.
probably.
Well, thank you. And I also want to thank Choir for her comments. I know, and I appreciate that things are moving fast here as we race to get to the June 30. And so I appreciate everybody jumping in, giving extra hours. You know, we've got another meeting tomorrow night for the 6x6 show. I've been working with Rebecca. I've got some work to do over the weekend. I mean, like, there's just a lot going on as we move up to the end of the month. And and we haven't even talked about the Art for Every Heart contest.
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually.
I have 1 second before I lose it and forget it, because the presentations that we saw tonight made me think about something we might want to consider if we want to eventually amend our vendor application, because looking at those three proposals, there are substantial differences in their hourly rate. And it occurred to me that would be useful. First of all, I'm assuming that those vendor application needs to be renewed every year, because obviously things change on a yearly basis for artists. But putting that aside, I think it would be valuable perhaps to require, as part of the application, an indication of their hourly rate ranges for specific different type of work, just to get a sense. Might actually be valuable information for those that wish to sort of do a job and they are making a decision. They might have two candidates that are equally qualified, but maybe one that comes at a different price range, and maybe they might fit better with one budget. So I think it's going to be useful.
I get your point, but I would say that I would be more comfortable with the artist discussing that with the potential client and deciding what makes the most sense based on the details of that project, that they have that discussion. Trying to get them to identify what their range is, and then if they come back and the person says the project is this, and they're like, well, that's gonna be substantially more work for me, my hourly rate's gonna have to change, then they are like, well, you said your hourly rate was this high. I feel like that flexibility should be kept in the hands of the artist to decide, per their discussions with the contracting party. I'm not sure.
Perhaps, I mean, if maybe a range, I don't think a number specifically, I was more thinking more about it, it can be a very broad range, right? It can be a very broad range, but I get to get a sense, right? Because I mean, we have here 3 artists, and when I look at those 3 applications, I mean, one artist is charging for a restoration project $20 per hour, another one 75. I don't remember the third artist, but it's a big variation, right? It's quite a gigantic amount of diverse things, and I don't know, maybe it might be, useful information.
But still, I mean, even if you said, okay, my rate's between $20 and
Yeah.
$75, now the person's gonna say, okay, well, why are you giving me $75 for my project?
Yeah.
When you say you'll go as low as 20, what's the difference?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a valuable conversation, and we definitely should bring it up, but I feel like this is a special meeting
Yeah.
tonight, and I'd like to, if we can, if you feel comfortable, Daria, if we could, now that we have brought that up, we have that, in the minutes and everything, if we can move on to, the Art for Every Heart and the 6x6 show, so that we can, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because I wasn't even thinking about that, and that's super valid, so.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. So, Anne, Art for Every Heart contest, we were hoping to get an update and maybe even select a winner tonight. Is that gonna be possible?
Oh, gosh, not select the winner tonight, but.
I thought we were gonna try to announce it at the 6x6 art show.
Do you want to give an update, Ms. Joyce?
Okay, well, we did get, I'm not sure what the total number of submissions we got, but, so yesterday was the last day?
Yesterday was the last day. We got about 29 submissions.
That's cool.
Did everybody get a copy of that file?
I have not seen a copy of that file. If it was emailed, I might have missed it.
So yesterday was the last day. I want to try to, again, I can't access Outlook right now, but we did get one video from a 6th grader who had a little animated thing as an Art for Every Heart, and it is it's, a 6th grader did it, it's great.
I haven't seen that one.
So we had 29 submissions.
So what Joyce and I talked about and what we wanted to present tonight, putting together a form so everybody can look at all of the different ones. Remember, we have 2 categories. We have best visual representation and best artistic interpretation, and then first, second, third in each of those 2 categories. So I'm gonna, everything is updated on you can look at all of them on the shared drive. And then just vote over the weekend.
Can we vote without calling a meeting? I don't think we can vote without calling a meeting.
Absolutely. We can do this virtual.
No, I'm saying, yeah, like, logistically we can, but legally we can't. Because that would be considered an that would be violation of open meeting law.
Okay.
So we would have to vote
But
on
if
it.
each person, I don't know if that would be
It's a what do they call it?
If everybody looks at the.
Serial meeting. If all of us are reviewing things and voting on things without a public hearing, people able to come in and talk to us about it, it would violate open meeting law.
I don't know that in this case that's the case because, the judges are not the public. The judges are the members of this Arts Commission. And the Arts Commission each individual Arts Commissioner can vote on
Any
the
vote that we
judges.
take as an art commission to approve anything has to be during an open meeting. We can't vote on things at our working sessions because of that.
But again, I think that this particular contest is different because it's not like we're not voting on a public piece of, it's not, we don't need
We're
public
voting on
input
funds
to
going
make,
out.
to make
We're
this
voting
decision.
on possible funding of a winner.
Yeah.
I would say that has to be in the public domain.
All right, we can,
if you talk to legal and legal signs off on us doing it remotely, fine, but that's a really thin line that
I don't think it's such a, all right, I will talk to legal about it. It's not like we're making a decision about public art. We're not making a decision about, this is a contest.
Are we putting it on our website? Again, I think that's gonna be a violation of open meeting law if we do that.
All right, well, in that case, then, I will give you all the information. You can look at it. We will vote on the 23rd, and we will not announce it at the June 14th event.
Does anyone else feel differently about that? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like that would be.
Josh, that's why you get paid the big bucks, man.
I think because there's money involved and it
Yeah.
is public facing on the website, it's unfortunate, but I kind of think he's right.
No, actually, Josh is right.
Dang it, Josh.
I will go on record now as saying Josh is usually right.
Have we made any announcements public announcements that the winners would be revealed at the event on June 14th?
Let me look at the flyer real quick.
I think we have, and some of the social media we have too. I mean, we'll have to, we'll just have to amend it. That's fine.
It's not on the flyer.
Good.
It's not on the flyers.
Let me ask you this, Damian. Is there a possibility that we could, never mind. That's,
No, I think Josh is correct. We would, I mean, I wasn't,
Here's the
Well, the
alternative
only way
option.
around it would be have the subcommittee choose them.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
That's what I was gonna say.
So do we want to vote tonight to have the subcommittee approve the Art for Every Heart contested winners? And you'll have to send the files out tonight for everyone to have a chance to look at.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I like that. That's actually what I was gonna say. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
I love this group.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve having the 6x6 art show fundraising subcommittee approve the Art for Every Heart contest winners?
I make a motion to approve this thing you just said.
I second
second
choir. Oh,
I'm gonna go with Rebecca on that one, sorry.
I'm a second hog. I need to share.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, perfect. Last little quick thing on the 6x6 fundraising event. I wanted to give a quick update that we learned about literally minutes before this meeting started, which was there's been now some additional pushback from city staff about paying out the budgeted $15,200, which we originally agreed to, and I was actually going to ask to increase that amount to whatever we have left in our budget that's not that's discretionary for us to give to the foundation. There's concerns with us sending the cash over to the foundation at this point. However, again, this just came out just recently. A couple options that we have that I'm going to go back to and suggest to city staff is, could we, or they already proposed maybe giving us that money in the next biennium, basically journaling it over to us for next year. If they do that, is there a way we can purchase the equipment that the foundation would have already and donate the equipment itself to the foundation? Basically, we would do the purchasing and then give them what they were already going to be buying.
Of the art supplies to, what, I'm sorry.
Well, and it's not art supplies. In the MOU, we had to say equipment, which means physical, long-term assets. So desks, lighting, what else was that?
Music equipment, anything for
equipment,
drama, productions.
Maybe cameras for photography,
Sure.
things that are substantial, not pens and paper.
For God's sake, no pens and paper.
Yeah. So all that to say,
Or crayons.
Or crayons.
it was very, very clear in the discussions we ended up having. And thank you to Amy for sitting in on a lot of those and Ann for helping coordinate a lot of those to try and get there. But at this point, we have to figure out maybe an alternative solution for going forward. I am a bit disappointed, and I will go on the record of saying I'm a bit disappointed that this is coming out such a late hour to us, even though the city has known about it for weeks and months now. But hopefully we can come to some type of solution where we could get those funds still approved to move over.
Can I ask a
in some
question?
capacity.
Before this came up, there was a distinction between what we raised at the 6x6 and what we had in our budget that was just cash. I thought we had the freedom to do whatever we wanted to with what we raised at the 6x6. Is
Correct.
that true?
And that is
Those
correct.
funds we can give to the foundation, there's no
Those-
concern with that. It's merely the funds that were budgeted, allocated in the budget
Yeah.
to us
Got
for
it.
this biennium.
Well, I think that your suggestion of purchasing the equipment needed and giving to them, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And if they do decide to if the decision is made that those funds are able to roll over to the next biennium, again, that's still to be determined, but we could potentially revisit the grant idea too, which is what we were originally gonna do with the fund.
Yeah, but we've already told,
Yeah.
you've already
it's-
communicated to
Yeah,
these,
okay.
the teachers.
We've already got,
This is
I
for
don't-
form to take
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I wouldn't,
Okay.
I
we
would
had an
wanna
agreement
have
with the
a-
foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this equipment, the music stuff, all of that has to be bought by June 30th?
So, yes, currently, if nothing else changes, we'd have to spend the money by June 30th or not spend it at all. When Anne was told about this from city staff that they were having issues giving the funds out, she made the good point to them that the reason we were doing this partially was because we had such a short runway, we didn't have the time to establish some type of grant program to give the funds out another way. So right now, if it stood as it is and they didn't give us the ability to move the funds over, we basically would have to figure out something to spend $15,000 on in about 2 weeks, which is not an impossible task, but would maybe be very difficult to do in that time frame. The other option is if they agree, and they were already hinting at the fact that they would maybe look at the option of moving it over to next biennium, which means we would have more time. We'd have basically until 2027 to allocate the funds. But again, it's poor form, in my opinion. So I will try and work with Anne and Amy and try and come up with a solution, hopefully as soon as possible, so we don't have to go back and have that conversation, or we have a better conversation, hopefully.
Good work.
Okay, and so if we have to spend the money by June 30th, and we already have all of these other things going on at once, like who's gonna go shopping?
I'll do it. I like to shop. I don't, but I will.
I could help.
And choir.
I'm actually not bad.
Actually, that sounds like a good team.
Yeah. Because I actually used to do music too, so, I mean, I don't know if that's helpful.
Okay. All right, I just didn't know, do we have a backup plan in case they're like, oh yeah, this has to be spent by June 30th? Who's gonna do the purchasing and how are they gonna get the funds to buy the things and all of that?
Well, and we even have to get a agreement that they would let us donate the equipment itself. So that's the first part, is that they would have to say, yeah, you can donate the equipment, just not the cash. Okay, then we have to go, but you have to spend it by June 30th, then we have to go shopping.
And then we have to get a completely new agreement with the foundation.
Yeah, so
No, you won't.
Boy, howdy.
We just,
I'm gonna send them, my blood pressure medication bill.
That's right. That's right. That's only
Because
good
at this
and
point, I think the
proper.
city should cover some of that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and just for funsies, the tariffs are really wreaking havoc with a lot of things. And so, back to the musical instruments we were talking about, I mean, they're going to be twice what they were. So here's one sousaphone.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions, thoughts, or on this, or anything else that anyone would like to share before we adjourn?
well, again, I just want to thank everybody for hanging in there. I promise the next biennium will be at least a little calmer, if not as unpredictable, but still calm. No, but I do appreciate everybody's work. Everybody's putting in time right now. As we get to the end of the biennium. So I really do appreciate that. And I'm sorry we had those technical difficulties at the start of this meeting. I don't know what's going on with Outlook in this room, but, so appreciate your patience with it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Anne.
Anne.
Thank you. You work so hard. Thank you, Anne.
Bang that gavel, dude, quick.
Okay, we're gonna adjourn. 7:43. Thank you, everyone.
Au revoir, Louis.